So up on the screen here are the details of this transit. This will be a new moon, and of course a new moon is always a time of new beginnings, to start a new path, a new project, to take a new direction. And this will be occurring in the sign of Cancer, specifically in the Nakshatra of Pushya. Pushya is the home of Brihaspati, Jupiter. This is where Jupiter is in its exaltation. And so this is a very powerful position. This Pushya Nakshatra has everything to do with spiritual knowledge, wisdom, advice, teachings. This is all about taking the moral path. This is all about wisdom, philosophy, and higher spiritual understanding. So this is the nurturer, this is the teacher, the guide here in Pushya. And this new moon is excellent in terms of giving us great wisdom about the direction that we're moving in. This will be aspected by Jupiter, which again is the ruler of this nakshatra. Jupiter will be in its dignity there in Pisces as it is giving this aspect. Also in another Saturn-controlled nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. And so Jupiter, as it is there in the nakshatra of the wise old soul, of bringing the spiritual down to the physical. This is an excellent time of tapping into your intuition, of receiving deeper understanding. This will also be receiving an aspect over from Saturn, which is also in its dignity there in Capricorn. So Saturn has spent a while here in Aquarius in its Mula Trikona sign, but still remains at home as it shifts back into Capricorn. Saturn is all about responsibility, duty, routine. It is all about the long-term gains, creating a solid foundation, doing things with the correct judgment. And as Saturn is aspecting over to this moon, this is also going to give us a ton of wisdom and insight into our direction. Remember that as Saturn is retrograde, this is all about restructuring our lives, reordering things, doing things in the correct way. This will also be receiving an aspect from Mars, which is there with Rahu. Rahu amplifying this Martian effect as it remains home in its Mula Trikona sign of Aries. So giving us the push, the boost, the energy to drive straight ahead in this new direction. This new moon will also be in conjunction with Mercury. And Mercury is there, which is excellent for our skills, our knowledge, our capabilities. Again, this new moon has everything to do with moving in this brand new direction based upon our wisdom, our guidance, the things that we can use at our disposal. So this is a very powerful and auspicious new moon that we are stepping into here. Remember, though, that Mercury in Cancer can be very emotional, very moody. And so this is definitely a time to be very careful about your moods, about how you are reacting to situations around you. Otherwise, this Mercury in Cancer joined up with this new moon is excellent for your creativity, excellent for any kind of new projects that you want to start working towards. Let's go ahead and talk about how this transit will affect each of you according to your zodiac signs. And just a quick disclaimer that this is not according to Western tropical astrology. This will be according to Vedic astrology, which is using the sidereal zodiac. So if you are not familiar with what your sidereal zodiac sign is, there is a link down to a calculator in the description so that you have the correct information. Another quick disclaimer is that this is not according to your sun sign. These horoscopes will be according to your moon sign or your ascendant. The moon is going to tell you how this transit will affect you personally, how you're reacting, responding, how this will affect you according to your mind. Where the ascendant is going to show you how this transit will play out according to your karmas, your lessons, the patterns that are playing out in your life. So these are the two most important points to read from. For those of you with an Aries moon or Aries ascendant, this will be a new moon taking place in your 4th house. And so this is an excellent time for you to start in a new area of education, of learning. especially when it comes to mystical studies, philosophical studies. This is excellent for any kind of creative talents that you want to tap in, using your imagination, your inspiration. And this is an excellent time of Jupiter back in that 12th house where you're getting this intuitive guidance as to where you want to start fresh at. This can be a time where you're thinking about moving or doing things differently within your home environment or within your family. And so this can be excellent for rearranging things in your home, for doing any kind of work within the home at this time with this new moon. For those of you with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 3rd house. And so this is a great time to work towards any new projects that you have in mind. Remember that Jupiter is giving us the wisdom, the guidance as to what direction to go in, and is placed here in your 11th house. This is a very prominent position as Jupiter is ruling over that 11th house of your higher wishes, of your hopes and dreams. And so this is definitely a time of thinking long term, of thinking of those big plans of where you want to go in the next 10 years. This new moon happening here in this 3rd house is all about your courage, your communication, your skills, developing yourself and putting yourself out there. For those of you with a Gemini moon or Gemini ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 2nd house. And so this is an excellent time to focus on your wealth, to focus on your security, your resources. This may be a time where you have to do something different in this area, where you have to be a bit creative in terms of how you're going to bring in resources. This can also be a time where your family is depending upon you. And so some new responsibilities can come into your life. This also can be heavily related to your career, to your workspace, with Jupiter there in your 10th house, and this Mars that is also aspecting over to this new moon that is there in your 11th house. And so this could be a time where your colleagues in your workspace are depending on you, where your clients are depending on you. You can get a lot of demands with this new moon. For those of you with a Cancer moon or Cancer ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 1st house. So this is a very prominent position happening here in a Kendra and in your 1st house of self. This is going to affect you directly. So this may be a time where you are thinking of taking up a new hobby, of changing your appearance, of doing something different within your life. This is an excellent time for this. We have the Sun, Moon, and Mercury all in your 1st house, giving you a ton of charisma. This could be an excellent time where you're very popular, very much connected with others. You can find yourself socializing more, connecting with others more during this new moon. For those of you with a Leo moon, Leo ascendant, this will be a new moon that has gone behind you in your 12th house, and Jupiter there in your 8th house as well. So this is definitely a time of retreat, of going inward, of taking some time to yourself. And this can be excellent for your studies, with Mars that is also there in your 9th house, aspecting over to this new moon. These are all houses that are dealing with deep learning, deep studies. This is an excellent time for your occult studies, for diving deeper into yourself, deep introspection, any kind of learning where you're diving deeper, psychology, philosophy. All of these mystical studies are excellent at this time. This is a great time where you can receive a great deal of wisdom and guidance, where your intuition can be increased and you're being directed as to what path you should be taking. For those of you with a Virgo moon or Virgo ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 11th house. And so this is an excellent time for your gains, for new people coming in, your friend circles expanding. We even have this Jupiter, which is very expansive there in your 7th house of other people. And so this is excellent for socializing, connecting with others at this time. Those of you with a Libra moon, Libra ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 10th house. This is time to start thinking about your direction in life. What are your future plans? What is it that you are trying to achieve? This is a big moment of thinking long term, and this can bring in new opportunities into your workspace, new projects, new expectations. We have Jupiter that's there in your 6th house where you're being demanded a lot in terms of serving, helping others, and this can reflect in your workspace. For those of you with a Scorpio moon, Scorpio ascendant, This will be a new moon taking place in your 9th house. This is an excellent opportunity for new studies. This is an excellent opportunity for new areas that you can explore, for some of you traveling. Any kind of learning and new experiences coming into your life is excellent. This could be a time where you're thinking of publishing some kind of creative work, a book at this time. With Jupiter that's there in that 5th house, this is excellent for the manifestation of your creative projects. For those of you with a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 8th house. Very dramatic. This can be a huge time of sudden changes and transformation. This is welcoming in a brand new chapter in your life. And so you can find that there are many losses, that there are difficulties, but this is ultimately bringing you to a point of success. There's a lot here to learn with this Mercury that's joined in with this new moon here in your 8th house. And Mercury, of course, is a challenging planet as it rules over your 7th and your 10th house. And so you can find that this is a time where you're demanded a lot from others, a lot through your career. But this can help you financially with this all taking place in your 8th house, a money house. And we have Saturn on the other side there in that 2nd house, which is also a money house. So this can be a time where you're working towards something that will give you long-lasting results. Very slow build, but ultimately Saturn in the 2nd house trying to help and support you financially. For those of you with a Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 7th house. This can welcome in brand new people into your circles. We have Jupiter aspecting this from your 3rd house. And so this is an excellent time to socialize, to connect to people, to do things through social media, through networking. This can bring in a wide variety of people into your life. And this is an excellent time for any kind of projects that you're initiating, anything that you want to put out into the public. For those of you with an Aquarius moon, Aquarius ascendant, this will be a new moon in your 6th house. And so this is an excellent time to take up a new diet, a new exercise routine, new habits in your life. This 6th house is being emphasized heavily. And of course, Jupiter is there in your 2nd house as well, where this is a huge time of focusing on your health, making sure that everything in your daily life is managed properly. Mars is there in your 3rd house, aspecting over to this new moon. And so this is an excellent time to initiate in those areas that you have been procrastinating, that you have been delaying. This Mars Rahu in the 3rd house asking you to start getting things moving towards this new chapter in your life. For those of you with a Pisces moon, Pisces ascendant, there will be a new moon in your 5th house. And so this can be an excellent time of taking up a new hobby, of taking up a new creative project. This could be a time of having some fun, of connecting with others, being more social, putting yourself out into the world. Mars is there in your 2nd house, so this can support you financially. So again, this can be an excellent time of any kind of new projects that you're starting. Jupiter's there in your 1st house, where again, this can open up your social circles, open up your opportunities. This is a great time to expand upon yourself. Saturn is aspecting over from that 11th house as well. So not just momentary, but thinking about long-term plans, long-term goals. What is it that you want to see for yourself 10 years from now? Big time to start thinking about this.